Hi lovelies, this is Donna, this is Bride to Be TV, and this week we are talking, are you going to get married in a church or somewhere else? Stay tuned. Are you planning on saying I do in a church service, or are you planning on taking a different route? There are pros and cons to both. I have my preference, and there's no judgment in what I'm going to talk about today. You do you boo, and I'll do me. But first we're going to look at church. So if you have a faith, then it is likely that you are going to want to gear towards getting married in a church. It's a celebration of your faith, it's a celebration of the love that you have. The vows that we tend to stick with and have stuck with for a very long time, turn around and say, what God has joined, let no man put asunder. He's right there at the heart of these vows. And the power of saying them in a church service and the faith behind what you're saying can be very, very powerful and very, very moving in a church service. I'm really sorry about my hair, guys. However, there are issues with getting married in a church, even if you do have faith, and one of those issues is that churches tend to put a parish restriction on who can get married where. If you have a home church and you've moved away, you might get away with going back and getting married at your home church. But if you live out of district, then trying to get agreements for you to marry in a church that is not in your own parish can be quite difficult. And I feel that that's part of the downfall of church weddings and why other weddings are increasing, because we've got cars now. We can travel, and we want to travel, and we want to have our reception venues in beautiful places that might not be in our hometown. And nobody wants to get married in a church and then have to travel 2 hours to a reception. You'd want to go and do everything in one place. And I feel that's one of the reasons why there are less church weddings. So listen up, church bigwigs. Maybe you should relax your rules a little. Civil weddings, they have so much more flexibility. You have basically a one-stop shop. If you can find a venue that has a license to perform weddings, then you can have everything under one roof. It cuts down on the transportation costs, and you can just relax knowing that where you are is where you're going to be for the rest of the day, so you don't have to worry about leaving things behind or anybody else leaving things behind. Everything can go to one venue and you're sorted, so it's so much more simpler. However, there is a difference in the vows that you're saying to each other when you are not getting married in a church, and as powerful as personal vows can be, if you're not going to write your own vows, then you are limited with what your wedding vows are going to look like. I know some venues that work closely with their local churches, and you can get married in the church and have the church wedding with the traditional vows, and then you can go have a blessing where you can do some of your own vows and things like that. And I think that's a great mix. But ultimately, the decision is yours. You might have pressure from parents to get married in a church or to not get married in a church. But ideally, it's got to be a decision between you and your partner. And this is going to be one of those things, especially if there is faith on one side of your family and not on the other, that might be a sticky issue to talk through. And really, I think it comes down to practicalities. You have to look at the big picture, the whole picture. You can always have a blessing in a church afterwards, in your local church, if that is something that's really important to you and your family. But if the venue that you want isn't local to your local church, if the entertainment that you want comes from out of town and they're not going to travel that far. You've got to look at the logistics of everything that you're planning before you make that decision. So I'd be interested to know, are you church or are you alternative? And if you're alternative, where are you looking at getting married? I'd be interested to know. So drop me a note in the comments below. Hit the subscribe bell and you will find out when our next video is out. And don't forget, we've already done some videos on wedding budgeting, so you can go back and watch that if you need help with your wedding budget, and also some marriage proofing techniques, things to do to ensure that you guys are staying on track. So I will link those in the comments below, so be sure to head over, subscribe for more videos, and I will see you next week. Bye for now.